This is part 2 of a 2-part video. Click here to watch part 1. Hey everybody, Ninja Cupcake here and welcome back to the 10 Style Challenge. We're continuing today with Sailor Moon. For Sailor Moon, I took a lot of inspiration from Sailor Neptune since she was the only one with at least remotely wavy hair. But I had to change a little bit of things and move my part to the side since that's where I part my hair. For the outfit, I wanted to do a shirt, but I decided to make it a little more sailor-ish, so I gave myself a school uniform instead of just a plain old t-shirt. I've never really been fond of the Sailor Moon style, sorry if that triggers anyone, but I felt like I got pretty familiar with it. The line work for Sailor Moon was pretty thin and not pressured, so I decided to go with a really small and non-pressure brush, just like the show. The hair in the drawing doesn't exactly look like my hair, but I think it looks pretty similar. I had to change a few things for this hair because I had to make it look like the show instead of what my style would be. Then I go through my usual coloring techniques. I decided to change the way the eyebrows looked to give it a softer feel. You'll notice for this shirt that I tried to go with a cream colored shirt instead of just plain white, but that ended up looking a little bit off, so I decided to color it white instead. For the shading, I used my usual cell shading techniques, and I go through and I blur it all because Sailor Moon is a little bit more soft shaded than I would particularly do in my normal styles. And there it is, Sailor Moon! Next up we have Studio Ghibli. For this style, I had to do some deep digging to find out what curly hair would look like. I eventually found something, but I had to improvise just a little bit. For my face, I took a lot of inspiration from Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. I noticed later that the hair needed a little bit more fringe, since Studio Ghibli does a lot of fringe on the hair, like extra stray hair or something like that, so I added that all later. You'll see it coming up soon. here's me adding all of the extra stray hair and fixing up the hair just a little bit to make it look more like me. For the shading, it was a different light source than I usually go for, since my light source comes from up above and to the side a little, but this one comes from the front, as if the light was right in front of you. So I had to change up a little bit of my techniques to make this work. And then I added a little bit of reflection on my hair. And there it is, Studio Ghibli. Up next we have Tim Burton. This one was a little bit outside my comfort zone, so I had to improvise just a little bit and use a lot of reference pictures. It was the first time I've ever done anything like this, and I think it turned out pretty cool. I discovered a new brush in Photoshop, which was actually the pencil, which I hadn't been using very much. I usually just use the paintbrush. For the face shape and eyes, I took a lot of inspiration from Emily from Corpse Bride, since she was a little bit less eerie than Tim Burton's normal style, and I'm not very creepy or scary or anything like that. So Emily was a perfect reference, when she was living, of course. I decided to change the hair a little bit later, as you'll see in a little bit, because my hair doesn't go really out that much at the top. It fringes more at the bottom, so I decided to go like this. For the color, I actually used a pressure-sensitive shading brush, which means like you push harder and it'll get a lighter color depending on what colors you have selected. So here it is, shading it in. I really like the way this brush looks, and I actually used it in my Moon Girl Speedpaint. I think the hair ended up looking really cool, and I'm kind of proud of it, since it was a little bit outside of what I usually do. And there it is, Tim Burton. Up next is Gravity Falls, and this one was probably the easiest one to do since it's the most cartoony and most comfortable for me to do. I ended up looking a lot like Wendy and Mabel and Dipper all put together in one person, which I thought was kind of funny. Gravity Falls has a similar art style to Steven Universe with the mouth when it comes to their smiles and teeth and stuff. So I decided to do a full teeth smile, and I think it ended up looking pretty cool. See, my top half looks like Mabel, and the bottom half looks like Dipper and Wendy put together. I always thought hands in Gravity Falls were pretty cute, so I decided to replicate the cutesy and chubby little fingers. The coloring for Gravity Falls was probably the easiest to color since there's not too much detail in it. The shading for this art style was pretty simple too, so it didn't take very long, and I think it ended up looking just like the show. And there it is, Gravity Falls! Last but not least, we have Pokemon. I thought the Pokemon art style was pretty cute ever since I was younger, but I didn't really watch much of the anime or play many of the games, so I'm not too familiar with Pokemon or anything like that, but I still think it's pretty fun. Again, nobody really has curly hair in Pokemon, so I had to really improvise on this one, or at least nobody that I could find. I really like how the eyes ended up turning out because they allowed for me to have hazel eyes again. And once again, like most of my anime styles you'll see here, the line work is not pressure sensitive and it's pretty thin. For a while I couldn't really decide how the mouth would look, so I ended up going with something simple and fun that you'll see in a little bit. See how I ended up with my tongue sticking out? I thought that was pretty cute and kind of sassy, so I stuck with it. I ended up softening the eyebrow look a little bit to make me look a little bit sweeter than I did previously. The shading was a little bit different than what I usually do. It was soft and kind of uneven at some points in the drawing. The reflection was also interesting, since it did pretty much the same thing, but it was barely visible. So I had to lower the master opacity of the layer quite a bit. I think it ended up only being 3% visible. And there we have it, Pokemon! So, this concludes part 2 of the 10 Style Challenge. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if I should do something similar to this in the future. Thanks for watching, everybody! Bye!